There is so much good news, so much winning out of the Trump White House right now that the mainstream legacy media can't keep up with.
Just when it appeared that The View couldn't be any worse with Karoline Leavitt's second lawsuit, ABC is in full-blown crisis mode. The new lawsuit, which legal experts have called a strategic legal missile, squarely targets Whoopi Goldberg and the show's hosts. Just a few days prior, Joy Behar and Sunny Hole were still fighting Leavitt's first $800 million defamation lawsuit against the network. The host of The View stumbled down the aisle during a recent episode, mocking Leavitt as Trump's token Jen's mouthpiece. Sunny host dismissed her claims as a well-planned GOP stunt. Smirking, the person at the center of the initial dispute remarked, "She's lucky we let her on the show at all." Millions of people saw their remarks, which infuriated them and led to swift legal action. Lev's legal team wasted no time in breaking down the piece, recording it, transcribing quotes, and adding them to a developing case file in a matter of hours. The hosts are charged with malicious conduct, intentional harm to their reputation, and public intimidation in the latest lawsuit, which also accuses them of retaliatory defamation and knowingly continuing defamatory behavior while the case is still pending. Experts in media law referenced in the filing assert, The View has now entered dangerous legal territory. In a direct statement, they might as well hand her the judgment. Insiders claim Whoopi may soon leave the program due to pressure, and ABC sources indicate emergency meetings, sponsor withdrawals, and a growing feeling of panic. A legal storm has grown out of what started as a single lawsuit. Leavitt is not merely protecting her reputation, she is taking the offensive, and the opinion may have finally gotten itself into serious difficulty.
Behar calls her a 10. I mean, how dare she objectify a woman with a sexist rating system, but it's such a typical thing from a 1 point.
There is more going on in the ABC hallways than just self-defeating. Insiders claim that after Karoline Leavitt's second lawsuit, The View studio has descended into an emotional battleground. But here's the twist. The hosts who made fun of her are the ones who are allegedly stoking the fires. Within 48 hours of the second lawsuit, chaos broke out, and ABC producers, who are normally cool under pressure, were apparently incensed at their own talent. One senior producer was heard slamming a folder down and stating, "This is what happens when no one listens." According to a leaked memo that two sources verified, the network specifically advised the panel to refrain from making divisive remarks. They chose not to heed this advice, and the consequences are severe. ABC has raised studio security, delayed marketing campaigns, and frozen budgets, not because of threats, but because of growing criticism. Fans are shifting away from sponsors. Whoopi Goldberg is being called for on social media. Even though ABC's board is examining talent contracts, Joy Behar and Sunny host's resignation is never encouraging. One anonymous employee claims that worker morale is at zero, and some are even surreptitiously looking into severance benefits. Legal experts now believe that this case could create precedent, particularly since the second complaint was filed while the first was still live. An unusual and dramatic move, and Leavitt has been entirely mute, allowing the court filings and the viral firestorm to speak for her. This is more than just a dispute between a public figure and a talk program during the day. In the viral age, it's a watershed moment for media ethics and free speech platform accountability, and the mainstream media can't ignore it for once. In addition to suing the show, Karoline Leavitt is making an industry face its own challenges.
So it is the belief of this White House or the White House counsel's office that the president was within his executive authority to do that. He is the executive of the executive branch, and therefore he has the power to fire anyone within the executive branch that he wishes to. There's also a case that went before the Supreme Court in 2020, Scala Law LLC versus the Customs, Bureau Protection. I would advise you to look at that case, and that's the legality that this White House is wrestling.
So you're confident that if they bring lawsuits against you, the prosecutors were fired, that they will succeed?
We will win in court.
And
Yes.
did he personally direct this, given they worked on the classified documents investigation, the election interference investigation?
This was a memo that went out by the Presidential Personnel Office, and the president is the leader of this.
According to several insider leaks, ABC is currently facing a nightmare situation they never could have predicted. Did they save The View or cut it loose? Network executives must select between three risky solutions while confined to round-the-clock crisis meetings. Each is more agonizing than the final choice. One suspension Goldberg, Hoopy Joy Bihar, and Sunny Hostin temporarily started a pater movement to show accountability without ruining the brand, but insiders worry that it would be viewed as too little too late. Option 2 is to quietly settle both lawsuits, paying out possibly hundreds of millions of dollars, issuing public apologies, airing formal retractions, humiliating, expensive, and there is still no guarantee that the storm will subside. Option 3 is to cancel the show completely and rebrand the time slot. The nuclear option was unthinkable only a few weeks ago, but now some insiders say it's seriously being considered. The damage may be irreparable and sponsors are bailing, as one top advertiser said. "We will not associate with programming under active defamation litigation." Audience sentiment has flipped once devoted fans are now demanding accountability. Legal professionals are cautioning ABC, "If you don't act now, you'll be in court for years." Abs who once believed it was untouchable. However, Karoline Leavitt dispelled that myth with a shrewd legal strategy and a pile of receipts, highlighting the dangers of unbridled media power and the price of disregarding cautions. Therefore, should ABC cut its losses before The View drags down the entire network because Karoline didn't just respond, she changed the rules? Is this the time that legacy media finally faces true accountability?
I vow to provide the truth from this podium. We ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there's misinformation about this White House.
Boom. She's got more.
I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country.
Bam! It's on in the middle of the...
When Karoline Leavitt brought up significant legal issues, what action did The View take? Before you scroll past this, consider whether one young conservative with no corporate support can bring a billion-dollar media brand to its knees twice. They laughed, mocked, and rolled their eyes on national television, and now, just days later, they're in full-blown panic mode, frantically trying to salvage the show with shallow apologies and desperate PR spin. However, Karoline isn't flinching, no interviews, no media blitz, and no victim act. Instead, she's letting the facts speak. This moment is significant not only for Karoline and Whoopi, but also for anyone who has ever been silenced, ridiculed, or dismissed by a media class that believed it was above accountability. Perhaps this is the beginning of something larger, a shift in the balance of power where truth pushes back and the old rules no longer apply. What does that say about how fragile a mainstream media machine really is? What does that say about who really holds the power now? If you're sick of elite media, bullying, and hypocrisy, since this isn't just about a lawsuit anymore, it's a war over narrative control, and Karoline Leavitt isn't just fighting back, she's rewriting the rules. If The View thought it was over, they haven't seen what's coming. Echo chambers. Share this with someone who still believes The Viewpoint is just harmless daytime fluff, and subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the next wave of media shakeups they don't want you to see.